I just ain't right. Coke zero.
Something right about you.
Let's roll another 6.
Well, on the third night, you have built your fire. It's a little chilly this evening, given the way the weather has been. You feel that there's just kind of a sense of loneliness and isolation in this wood that you're not quite accustomed to in Old Lork. Old Lork. I keep confusing the word. The woods are strange, as I don't think any of you have ever been woodsmen or spent time outside of the city. This is kind of a new experience for you. And while you've grown a little bit more accustomed to the sounds of the animals and things in the wood, it's still a little bit unnerving. You try to build your fire large to ward away the wild dogs. You know that dogs are often warded away by iron and fire. The summer was hot and long, and predators were stalking women, men, and children along the roads at one point. In fact, the lords of Old Lork actually gathered up a number of volunteer soldiers to go and to purge the forest of wolves.
Oh.
Some were killed and skinned, others were simply beat back into the wood. But there's something to be said about the Weald, W-E-A-L-D, which basically means forest in Ald. It is vast. It is mostly unpopulated by the Aradain or the Rovaynian, and it is easy to get lost inside. It is a massive forest. It's hundreds and hundreds of miles in length. Its width is said to span nearly 25 to 30 miles. Its woods at some point are so impenetrable that they said that not even light makes it to the forest floor. Now, granted, these are mostly stories and from passerbyers, and because the forest has simply been left untamed for many, many, many years. Even before the horses of the Aradain stepped foot off the first shore, before they came here, the forest was said in Libram, in the Second Age, it was said to be vast. It is spoken about in your holy book. And you are along its very edges, and it is said that within this wood is the barony, your home. And this place doesn't really give you any sense of comfort of what you may be stepping into. But the sounds of the woods kind of come to life once the sun sets. In the light of the fire, you tell a few stories. Attention's turned towards Sir Harrison.
Well, there's no shame in losing yourself in cups. I never found anything wrong with it. You never know what it's like to walk a mile in a man's shoes, so I don't hold you to it.
I'll have another ale to that. I've still got me about a half a cask.
Sir Harrison pauses for a moment as he puts some tobacco in his pipe. Tokes it a few times.
What was in that letter about the dogs?
I believe, yes, the dogs of summer. Basically referring to, generally when it's hot out, things may not grow as well, or maybe harder things to, food may be harder to come by. And so, things that maybe wouldn't be as aggressive would be a bit more aggressive. So,
Big gray dogs are hungrier than usual. That's what it is.
well,
They don't like fire. And they don't really like us. Don't get caught by yourself out away from the fire. You'll be all right.
indeed, as long as you don't go to make water too far away.
It's like the granary shortage of about 3 years ago during a similar summer that was incredibly, incredibly hot. What it was like in Lorgus, people were desperate. I mean, there were fistfights in the streets over simple cups of grain for families. You can only imagine what it was like now, 3 years later, after a long summer, what the animals and such in the forest would be like. Aggressive would be an understatement. And they literally had fields of hunters. Like, we're talking 30-plus men and women who would go to seek out wolves and kill them where they lay. But they are swift and cunning animals.
Seen many a dog. I've seen and heard many a dog in Old Lord. Howling through the night. Those aren't dogs. Folks should be aware.
But those are a bit more domesticated, yes.
Well, didn't they say something about wood devils?
Wood devils, are those wolves?
No. Wood devils are a bit different. They,
Oh, that's not make believe. That's not wives' tales and farmers' tales.
I was gonna say, I've been traveling around from arena to arena, and even when I was a boy, running with my family, we went through here and there and everywhere, hearing about wood devils and this and that. I ain't ever seen nothing like that. And yeah, these...
Are they the Picts? Is that what they're talking about?
There ain't no Picts or down this far south.
I don't know. Small folk are practical lot.
It's just
In my
all
estimation.
stories to scare people, to get them to buy more goods before they leave one stop to go on to the next. That's all it is.
I don't know.
These wolves, they're dogs, just the same as any other dog. They're just wild. They don't see us as equals like them dogs you see back in town that have been bred for generations to be, what's the word?
domesticated.
Domesticated, yes. And I'll tell you what, you see a pup, you hightail it, because there ain't nothing more dangerous than a mama wolf whose pups might be in danger. But outside of that, like I said, you just stay by the fire, don't wander too far to piss, and you sure as shit don't want to piss on that fire before we lay our heads down and go to sleep. You put an extra log on it, and you curl up tight and close to it. It'll be alright.
Indeed, we could build a bit of a bigger fire.
Not a bad idea to hang our rations in one of them knapsacks up in the tree, too.
I was going to keep the rations inside the carriage, but okay.
Well, those dogs, they're crafty enough to find their way into that carriage if they're hungry enough. You hang it up by the tree a good 10, 15 foot, that's going to put it outside of the range of their noses. And some bitches can smell better than anything. They can see pretty good and they can move pretty good, but they can smell for miles.
Well, if they can smell for miles, how come 15 feet's good?
Well, the thing is it's the wind. If you ever met a tracker or known a tracker, and I'm not proposing to be a tracker myself, but a boy I played ball with, he was from a family of trackers. And it's the wind. You got something in your hands and the wind blows through it. It's going to take the scent of that as well as you downwind. Now these wolves, they only stand about that high. So if the wind is 15 feet up above their head, chances are they ain't going to smell that. Now, I don't know the particulars of it. I'm just going by what my old tracker buddy taught me when the team was traveling between town to town playing our matches back in my pro days. But you can keep your food wherever you want it. Hell, put it in your pockets and fall asleep and see what happens.
There is this sound from the forest. It does not sound anything like the howling of wolves. In fact, since your stories began around the fire and threw a few extra logs on it, the sound of the wolves have mostly are gone. The forest is strangely quiet. Even the hooting owl that was nearby is no longer heard. The sound of the insects and the cicadas absent and silent. Only the wind rustling the leaves of the trees.
Why is it so quiet? I'd gotten used to the noise of those terrible insects.
I'm gonna sniff. Sometimes you can like smell rain coming. Like, does it smell like there's rain?
Well, it's been raining for most of the day, so everything's pretty damp.
Okay.
Are you trying to smell specifically for rain?
Well, sometimes insects and stuff will quiet themselves when there's rain.
Certainly.
Right? So I didn't know if it's just maybe there's a storm coming.
No, you've heard no. You can't really smell the ozone. The vault of night is mostly open at this point. The rain lifted toward sundown.
Okay.
You can see the vault of night is open, and you can see the stars, and the moon is nearly full. If not, actually, I'm sorry, it is full tonight. My apologies.
Okay.
You can see everything's kind of casting that pale blue light throughout the wood. It is so the stars in the mirror, as the moon is called, is so bright that you can see the shadows within the wood of the trees, or betwixt the moonlight.
What was that sound? Sir Harrison says as he puts out his pipe, stows it in his pouch, standing up, and turns away from the fire and looks out into the darkness for a few moments, letting his eyes adjust.
You focus, looking. Make a secret test with awareness. It's vision-based.
Okay.
Remember, the secret test you treat as a standard test. I know the difficulty rating, you do not.
Okay.
Unless you roll crit success or crit failure.
My chance to succeed is 47%, and I rolled a 60.
Would you like to keep that or reroll?
I'll keep it.
Okay. Your eyes adjust to the darkness, and you can see the long, slender blue shapes of trees in the wood. Not much undergrowth to be seen. These trees are so tall and broad of branch, but the moonlight is so bright that it seems to illuminate all the forest floor. It's rather quite beautiful, in fact. The sound of the city is nowhere nearby, but it is a bit unnerving that you cannot hear the crickets or other sounds, like just the silent wind, the leaves, the rustling of the trees, of the slight breeze. You could feel your hair kind of being pulled at by the wind. You do not see anything out there. You turn all about, kind of walking the circumference of the fire to take in the sight.
What do we do?
But you don't see anything. You're not even sure how far off that sound was, but it was apparent to all of you. Perhaps the wind carried it through the trees?
What did it sound like specifically?
Well, it sounded a bit like kind of a low, kind of groaning sound, like you would imagine your father when he would pull himself out of bed when he was infirmed.
Perhaps an old tree fell down far off in the distance. It doesn't explain the silence. It is unnerving, is it not?
It is, so perhaps we should have a watch then.
The hackles on the back of your necks instantly rise as you hear the sound even closer. Everyone needs to make a routine resolve test to withstand stress.
Would this be
60.
No.
This would not fall under indifference.
70.
55.
Indifference is grotesqueries and blood.
Right. I just want to make sure it's still fear, terror, stress.
Anybody fail?
How much? I
I
did.
failed.
How much? How many rerolls?
We still have 4 fortune points in there.
I just keep.
Would you like to re-roll?
Yes.
Okay.
I've only had one success, one
You give
crit
me
success, and 3 failures.
Who are why?
For those who wish to re-roll, give me I'll take a misfortune point in return.
At this time, I'd like to slowly and quietly reach into my pack and slide on my veteran's nose, as well as get my knuckle duster ready.
Now, you're struck by fear right now. There is no reaction yet. You all are kind of taking this in. Keep this in mind.
I have a success. Wow.
Who failed?
The majority of us.
All of us besides Ken.
Oh man.
Oh, sorry.
He has a moment here.
Gaunter.
Gone.
Everyone who failed will gain 6 corruption. You feel sweat beating up on your brow, and it is not from the labors of the day. You can feel, it's like you feel like a sudden chill of cold wind on the back of your neck as you have goose pimples all over. Your legs shudder slightly as you were all struck with, oh my gosh. That is a 19 mental peril.
I make ignore 3.
Under 1. I'm in peril.
Gaunter quickly he ducks down for a moment and reaches into his pack, and where the part of his nose was missing, he straps on the leather with the lead nose in front of his face, for he has no nose. He lost it in the footless.
So he's literally Sir No Nose?
He grabs his knuckle duster. You all kind of frozen in fear for just a moment. The fire crackles and pops behind you. The wind seems to dim the light for a moment.
I'll put my back to the fire. Kind of look out.
And then something comes moving, shambling, traipsing from the wood upon all fours. Something is coming toward you, and you're not sure what it is.
Can I draw my court sword?
I think he's saying surprise here.
That's why I asked.
Give me a 14.
Hey, enough space.
You all are, for those who failed your test,
Question.
you are unable to react. Save Gaunter. Gaunter. Something is coming, barreling through the wood. You can hear its footfalls upon the gray grass beneath the trees. No undergrowth here to be spoken of, save for that which has fallen from the branches above. Old leaves that have begun to molder and change and deteriorate in the autumn. This shape, this thing, is shambling forth from the wood. It does not bear any light.
I'd like to scrutinize it by grabbing up a burning log, and maybe trying to take a closer look at it.
Okay. He snatches up a one of the burning tenders from the fire. You're all kind of struck by fear, and you kind of inch forward slowly. What is that? Make an awareness test is trivial.
So, 7.
Pass.
Okay, so here's what we'll do from in the future so our viewers can see. What I'd like for you to do is say, my chance for success is thus, and then roll and say, I succeed or fail.
Okay.
Because our viewers and our readers can't hear
was
it.
72, and I passed.
Perfect. So success?
He actually
All right.
got a critical.
Oh, a 55 is a crit success.
Yeah, call it out, bro.
Here's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
You take several steps forward, and no one else. You don't really even notice everyone else. No, you see the others are kind of backing near the fire, but you're looking forward, and then suddenly, this man, covered in these heavy furs, collapses, wearing nothing beneath them. His brownish pink skin, he falls to the ground. He has this thick, untamed beard and these striking green eyes from beneath the tangled mess of his hair, gray and wiry. This man looks like he's born from the forest, like the forest spit him out.
Well,
Traveler, he says.
That's a man, if I'm not mistaken.
They are not near you. He's collapses literally in front of you. The sounds of the woods seem to rise once again.
A man? Well, who are you?
He reaches outward. He's trying to kind of produce spittle to speak.
Somebody get this boy some water.
Huh. All right. I guess I will offer him my hospitality then. as I will walk over then and try to dust myself off, make myself look a little bit dignified as
Sure.
shake it off a little bit and walk forward with a water skin.
He looks toward you. Man is rail thin. He looks emaciated, in fact. He does not look like he was fed in days. He's eaten in days, I should say. I need... What do I do? Something to drink, he says desperately.
I'll hand him a water skin.
He drinks of it like an animal, or like a man who has returned from the desert.
Drink slowly if you are dehydrated. I hear that helps.
So when you're trying to find crickets, you can't find crickets.
Well, then you'll need to add crickets in as we wait.
That's right. So he takes the what do you have to drink? I'm sorry.
A water skin.
Oh yeah, you give him the water skin. He laps greedily at it. He keeps his distance from the fire. His eyes kind of narrow at the light. This man had no torch upon him. He was wandering through the wood. He is nude as a babe, as his heavy, thick cloak that is caught with cockleburs and bits of twigs and leaves kind of is left in his wake, as this dirty, disheveled, emaciated man who has probably not trimmed his beard in a year is near the fire. His eyes do not even meet any of yours. He simply keeps a distance.
Sir, what is your name?
He looks around, his ears kind of perched toward the sounds of the wood. The sounds of the wolves seem to return, almost as if they came in his wake. He shakes.
Come near the fire. Come on, sit a bit. Stay a while and talk.
How do you Tuck and Cole? How do you two feel about this?
Tuck is looking with suspicion at him, wondering why anyone would ever even come remotely close to choosing to even be in his position. He is caught in his cruelty at the moment, as he is wondering how somebody could be so stupid as to get themselves into that situation. He doesn't trust him.
What about Cole?
It's about the same. I think I would rather just send him on his way. Give him his water, give him a little food, and see the back of him.
The man is not trembling or shaking, despite the fact that the wind is chilly enough. It is probably 67. It's cold enough for goose pimples for someone who is wearing no clothes. Certainly.
I'm gonna eye Sir Harris and have him like try to motion that he should maybe keep his eyes open still.
The fire's light seems to burn bright, casting strange shapes all over his strange shadows across his body. And in fact, as the light plays along the foliage above, it kind of casts strange shadows that move, and very mercurial these shadows are as they dart back and forth above you. And this strange person from the forest just wanders into your camp. But you offer him water, which he continues to drink at, and he's still trying to find his voice.
Like I said, I will motion him towards the fire. Maybe have him sit.
Wait, Will.
Ain't got no clothing.
Where are you coming from?
All in good time. I mean, I'll ask him his questions. Don't worry about it, Cole. The man
I'm fine with you
can't
being
sleep.
my lord, but this man stumbled out of the woods in the dark of the night.
I agree. It's very
Naked,
curious.
I might add.
Where are you coming from?
To tell you where I'm from is a long story.
Well, let's
I've
get
only
to the
asked
simple fact then. Why are you naked?
He looks down and he realizes that his He is showing his shame, as they would say in the city, but he does not seem to mind. He seems perfectly comfortable in his own skin.
I'll step back. As I'm saying this, I'll start to inch back.
You can see that he has kind of cockaburs and bits of food and things that probably have been his beard and tangled up within it. Is completely unkempt, this man. You would guess he's probably in his late 50s. But his cheeks are wind-chapped. His skin is ruddy. He looks like he's leathery as a person who's spent their time in the sun. You would not be surprised if he's some sort of vagabond or a vagrant, which is doubly worse. They are untrustworthy. I came from the wood, he says, kind of looking toward the trees. May I share your fire?
Alright, come and sit down and maybe tell us your tale. We'll tell you ours.
Sir Harrison?
I meet eyes with the man and look down the length of my nose with disdain. I'm only allowing him to join the fire because
Lord Wesley.
Lord Wesley is
Attempting to interrogate him, yes.
Yes.
All right. Hand me my hides, will ya? He says to you, Gaunter.
There you go, fella. We can hang them hides and dry them, but you might want to borrow a pair of undergarments from one of these fellers. So
You see him kind of arch a wiry brow as a suggestion, but he simply nods and thanks you for giving him the hide. He throws it over his shoulders.
So you're a huntsman? What is it?
Were I a huntsman, I would have me bow or spear at my side. Nary a knife or piece of iron I have carried in this wood. He comes toward the fire and warms his hands. I thank ye for your fire and your Walter.
What
do they call you?
The wolves?
Oh, my name is Wesley Winterborne.
Do me the honor for you to call me Otrygg.
Otrygg. Any surname? I should remember.
Nay, my lord, I was born simple.
Well then, you never know. So, Otrygg, you're not from around here? Or you find yourself here? So close to the barony?
I'm close to the barony, you say.
We're about a day away.
He looks toward the sky. The velvet of night has shifted. I realize I traveled so far already.
where are you traveling from?
The north, of course, he says.
Heading south?
Heading somewhere, he says, kind of with a pregnant pause, but he does not care to respond or give you an answer to that as he drinks from the skin and hands it back to you nearly empty.
Somewhere as in no destination wandering, or again a pregnant pause?
That seems like an interesting life.
I spend my time on the road. I do, my lord. He lowers his head in deference to your name.
You
So
spoke of
you
a
ain't
warning.
know-
You spoke of a warning earlier.
You ain't knowing to wear clothing, but he knows you's a lord.
Tuck jumps in front of both of you between you and this strange man to interject.
I mean, he knows his place in society, but then he doesn't choose to follow the rules.
Well, perhaps the rules are different in the north. I assume
What?
people wear clothes up there as it gets cold. Do they not? Isn't that not the point of wearing clothes?
What's
Decency and warmth?
What's north of here, Dunbrood? You ain't never met any Dunish. They wear clothing.
Yeah. Well, I guess any gentlemen that I've met in Old Lorp, yeah, we're wearing clothing.
Were you robbed?
Nay, I travel low and light, not much to take from an old man like myself, unless you wish to steal my stories. But even then, they're worth naught.
Well, I would disagree. There's A whole book's filled with stories that were worth something to someone.
Where's your kip?
Stories written in books steal your words of memory.
I'm sorry I didn't get your name, and I'm
Otrygg?
plainly all right not to know it. Where's your kit? Where's your gear? You can't survive out here without something. You said no knife?
I live off the land. I have lived off the land, I should say. And my name is Otrygg.
No water skin. No water on you. No food on you.
The bounty of the demiurge feeds me. Who has need for a water skin when one can simply cup thy hands into the river or the creek to drink, to lap from the spring?
I still need one, but I guess.
Are you from Old Lork? He inquires.
I'm from the road also. As ambiguous as you can give us your answers, I will return you in kind.
No, we can be a bit more specific. We're from the south.
A road in
And we're heading north.
The best response I can give you is the only place I am known as home is my mother's bosom. I have never called a place my home.
As you said, whatever that means, I don't know, but... are you leaving soon?
He seems a bit taken back by that. Your aggression will gain you 1 corruption. What do you mean? I'm not even certain where I'm at. I'm looking toward the stars, and I know that I've traveled too far south, I think. Your making manner tells that you are from Old Lork. 'Twas not where I meant to go.
Oh, we're a couple days north of Old Lork, more, like I said, towards the barony of Dunhallow.
To Dunhallow, you say?
Yes. Is that where you're aiming to go?
I think so.
Huh. So,
Honestly,
you just walk around aimlessly, but you don't know where you're going? Something like the journey, not the destination? I'm trying to understand. You see, we city folks, it's all foreign to us. So,
We seek purpose.
Purpose. Aye. I can respect that.
yeah, so what is your purpose then?
I was told to go to the Cold Stone Manor.
Does that ring a bell at all?
It was the Cold Stone Manor.
Oh.
They make ice cream, they sing now.
Yeah.
I was led here by a vision. I was told to seek out a cave of white stone, and that within lived a woman.
So find a stone manor, and cold stone manor, and then inside nearby would be a white cave, an old woman.
Oh, a stone. That's it. A stone manor with a cold woman inside. I had misinterpreted the vision. He looks toward the forest as if he was waiting for something to come in his wake.
Do you
Do you have any travelers with you? Any fellows?
I carry naught but the word of the demiurge.
The demiurge was the group, was the god of the group of the pilgrims that we.
Yes.
So we've heard of this demiurge, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just
It's the old gods.
okay.
That's what we would think of it as the old gods.
The gods of the east, or the gods of the Rovayne girdle.
Right.
The gods of the Rovanians.
Hmm.
And by east, we literally mean less than 15 miles.
Right.
Like, we're talking across the river.
Yeah.
Not like the far east, like... No, we're talking about, like, east of the Axe Water. The old Rovanians.
The Bastard King's lands.
Yes.
Right.
But they were not accepting gods even there. The Rovanians have adopted the covenant as their faith for many, many generations now.
Now, forgive me for assuming, I mean, I'm no scholar, let alone a mystic of any sort, but a stony, cold, old woman in a manor, or an old woman in a stone cold manor, however you slice it. I mean, that sounds like any baron's wife when he's out for a night of drinking and whoring to me.
Or dead.
Well, sure.
I saw a cold woman who sat. She was not able to amble on her own, and that she glided upon a chair of wood. That is what I saw, or what I seek.
And did this vision tell you why you seek this? Is she in danger?
I do not question the gods. I simply go where they tell me to go.
So they just showed you a vision of this woman, and you go there, but you do not know why. To help, to harm?
I had traveled betwixt the trees. I was lost for quite some time, and this is where I ended up. To what ends, I do not know yet.
I do not know or understand either.
Well, so is there anything else that you do know that you're willing to tell us?
I have told you plain. He seems... He takes a few steps back at this suggestion as you gain 1 corruption.
He's on a holy voyage for the Demiurge.
Of the Demiurge? Well,
yes,
I mean,
and his
that's...
dreams are leading him through the trees.
Well, I'm on a holy mission of a steward, and there's a lot of chimneys that need sweeping, and there ain't no chimneys where we're going. So what am I doing?
I don't know.
I meant no offense, travelers. If I will simply take my leave if that's what you want.
It's just... like I said, we are men of the city. We are very much outside of our zone of comfort, and so we have not met many honest and good agents or people along the road.
I can appreciate suspicion. When I walk amid your streets of artificial caves and stone homes, I too feel a fear.
I mean, it's only natural that a person kind of is used to their habitat or environment. But, I mean, I like to try to believe in the best in people. And it's kind of, well, maybe not always worked out the best for me. But, well...
Poorly, to say the least, my lord.
It hasn't, Wesley.
Oh, well, that's why you try to surround yourself with good folk, or at least good enough folk. So...
The best of leaders surrounds himself with people who are better standing than him. To do that which he cannot.
Well, right. But so, I mean, I do not know if I can't. I mean, if you have to go north, I mean, there's only this one path that I know of. I don't know of any trees or...
He looks toward the road with what little you can see of it. Travel amid a wooden horse.
Indeed, we have a carriage and an old horse. Ernest is a good man. From a hamlet near Dunhallow.
Dunhallow?
Dunhallow.
The Holy Hill.
Is that what that means?
It was what the Old Ald would call it.
I know my words, but I don't know my words.
The Dun is the hill, and the hollow is that which is touched by God.
I mean, I know that there are very old trees there.
Trees of the mountain. Trees that grow of the mountain and the earth. This I have seen too.
Ironwood.
Ironwood, witchwood, yes. It's
this path that goes north. It'll take me to this place, Dunhallow.
I believe so. We will leave in the morning. Do you think that is where your path leads you?
I'm going to trust.
The circumstances seem strange, he says as he looks along between Tuck and Cole. The circumstances are strange I do not quite know what to make of them yet.
Convenient too.
Seems convenient to me also.
You've been in these woods long?
I don't trust people who stumble out of the woods naked. I'm sorry to say that to you, and I'm being as straight and honest as I possibly can. I don't trust you.
Aye.
Well,
Understandable. He
Seems like the
lowers
feeling
his
is
head.
mutual.
I have no reason to mistrust you. A man is not worth mistrust until he proves himself to be so.
Well, I agree with you 100%. And not telling us who you are, what you are.
He opens his hands. I have told you everything as true as could be.
Following your dreams through the woods without any gear.
Have not men and women been on done stranger things?
Only in those books that I've told you about.
As you can see, I have the hands of someone who's lived on the land. I do not bear iron because it is forbidden by my faith.
I don't think I have noted that. That's why those priests didn't have, those pilgrims that we met earlier didn't have anything.
Tuck will immediately look to the only Rovaynian person around, as you would be the font and source of everything, Rovain. And he says, "Is that true?" He says that the Demio says that sort of thing is profane.
I mean, I've heard stories. I don't consider myself an expert on anything
Well, you're
of the
Rovanian,
sort,
ain't you?
but yeah, I've heard some similarities in stories that have been told. Truth be told, though, I don't really care much for matters of the spiritual or otherwise. I tend to myself deal in reality, but I can't dispute that claim. No.
The gods is real, though.
Well, I think that's a matter of opinion. Where I'm coming from.
Okay. Well, but I mean, what he says would be right by Rovanian standards, right?
Well, sure, I suppose so. I mean, folklore is folklore. I mean, it's no secret. It's nothing that, anyone who hasn't ever shared a fire or a bar with someone of Rovanian persuasion, if you will, might not have heard. But once again, I'm no expert on it. I tend to dwell in more of the urbane setting where reality is the god, if you will, and that's coin is king, and what you see is what you get.
So
Typically.
you're more follower of the Nine Father.
Well, I don't know about that either. I've played ball with plenty of Gothic lads, and I've heard their stories and their folklore. And I've run with Aradain traders and merchants, and I've heard their stories and their folklore. Hell, I've been on hunting trips with Dunmen, and they've got theirs. And it's I look at religion kind of like art. To true believers, it's everything. But to everyone else, it's just a steaming pile of crap.
When he utters those words, Tuck looks like he's crushed, as in one of his heroes wasn't who he believed that he once was, and he just kind of sits back and stops talking.
My lords, I do not mean to raise such heavy matters, or I will take my leave now.
Well, you can make that choice if you like, or you can stay. I've given my hospitality, so I'll extend my protection to you. And
You would extend your protection to me.
well, I mean, you have taken my water and you've shared my fire. Is that not hospitality? Do your gods not extend that kindness?
I think we should know, my lord. We should know more about his ways before you offer.
If he truly
your
is a godly
protection.
man, then he knows that if he brings any harm amongst us, or if we bring harm amongst them, then we shall be cursed, and, well...
You don't know what protection means to this man.
It means that he shall sleep by my fire tonight safely, and that he will leave in the morning if he chooses. Or he can leave now. But I shall, as long as he stays here, he shall be underneath my care.
I will give you what I can to earn my keep for the night.
Alright. Well, we will keep watch, as there are, seems, plenty of wolves in this area. So we'll do so in teams of 2.
Keep your fires hot and tall to ward away the wolves.
Indeed.
Wild dogs are afraid of tall fires.
Hmm.
But it can also be... Well, never mind. He says as he sits back down in front of the fire, warming his hands. He's shivering. He's shivering like he's seen a ghost. I mean, it's...
Never mind. And warnings. Keep losing your train of thought.
It is best to stay on the road. That, yes.
Indeed, we should not tarry into the woods. We are far from any sort of aid if any one of us should be injured.
Can we get him a bit more to keep him warm?
If you want to give him an extra pair of your briefs, then you can.
The fire is fine. I'd appreciate the fire and simply a place on the ground to rest with fellow travelers. Should be enough. He pulls the fur over his shoulders. He seems mostly afraid.
You notice anything on the wood on the way here? We heard tales tell of demons,
Wood devils.
wood devils. What is that?
Do not wander into the wood. That is the best. That's all you need to know about wood devils.
But you came from the woods, and you came upon all 4.
Do not come from these woods. I told you I traveled betwixt the trees. And I ended up here.
You know of the wood devils?
What does that mean? You traveled betwixt the trees. Like, you walked into some trees over here and you appeared in front of us?
I have been on a spirit journey.
That doesn't explain why you were crawling on all 4s like a beast.
No, the man was dehydrated. He could just simply have
My
crawled
lord,
as far as he could go.
your kindness has become scary.
I mean,
I'm gonna start interrogating.
I do not mean to cause offense by any means, and I apologize, I do not know your name, my lord.
I'm no lord.
But when the moon is full like such and the mirror is full, it fills men with madness and fear and superstition.
My eyes are keen.
Then
I know what I saw.
Then you will know the stories that men who stand beneath the moon's light are not men at all, but beasts. Do I appear a beast to you?
You're naked.
Do I have fangs? Do I have a tail? Do I have fur? No. What I spoke was true. He holds his hands out once again. I lay myself bare before you. You have nothing to fear from me.
I will give the man that. He's nary a stitch on him. Nothing to hide.
That doesn't mean he's explained why he was crawling on all 4s like a beast. He tells half-truths and half-riddles, and you guys lap it up like it's the best wine in the village.
I don't lap it up. I don't know his story. I don't know where he's been or where he's going. But I do know that he chooses to do so for a reason. What it may be, it's up to him if he wants to tell us or not. But I don't think we have anything to fear.
I don't understand him, but if he is a man of faith, then he'll keep the peace for the night.
Not your faith. Not mine.
Huh.
We don't know his faith.
I'll grant you that. I will grant you
But
that.
everyone goes to the well. Or worse.
And your belief in people has only sent us there on this trip. I've said my piece, my lord. I will be quiet.
Indeed, you have. So we shall keep watch then. Keep the fire bright. Keep it tall.
Watch upon the woods or watch upon him?
Well, that's why there are two. Keep an eye on each other in case anything should sneak past one.
You find when you're having this conversation, you turn back toward him. He's already beneath of his thick furs, lying down, curled up near the fire, and you could swear you could hear him sawing logs already.
Oh, for all we know, this old boy, he's just another vagabond or vagrant. I mean, he's clearly...
They would just cut our throats in the middle of the night to take them the jink that we have.
Well, if we're standing watch and keeping an eye on the feller, I mean, even if he were to try, I mean, even in my condition, I think that I could snap him like a twig with one hand, so he doesn't seem to be threatening, and he doesn't seem to be threatened by us. I've been all over these roads of this country, and the one to the south, the one to the north, and some to the east and west, and I've come across many a folk, and I like to think I know what dangerous is, and this old feller here, he just doesn't fit the bill.
As you all wish.
Certainly sleeps like a man with a clean conscience.
Well,
Indeed he does.
what does he have to lose? He has nothing. Plus, easier to keep an eye on him in the light rather than him lurk in the dark.
I'll give him a chance.
Well, indeed, that's why we have two keeping eyes on wolves without and wolves within.
So what's it going to be, my lord?
Well,
Which two when?
I'll take the first, and then two, and then I don't know who wants the next two. I don't care. You sign.
Lord Wesley and
Military
Gaunter will be able to suss it out between the two of them, how to make certain that the watch is split up where everyone gets enough rest. And it will not be long after that. The morning will come. We will stop here for the night.
Huh?
So, everyone gets 100 reward points. We'll pick up on the following morning. So make your buys if you wish. And remember, if you do updates on the wiki in between sessions, you'll earn 25 reward points. So it looks like those extra fortune points didn't go to use for me tonight, but I will not. We will see who wins next week, and I will not put myself on the poll. So once you get your purchases made.
We need to
We'll do corruption for the night. Yes.
Because I actually had a chance.
So, a question for you all. Traditionally, I roll a d10, and we compare it to everybody's values.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because the group traditionally will move together along the order of chaos path that way. The other alternative is to have you roll it yourself, which is an interesting kind of change, but
I like the one roll.
No,
It's
I'm
simple.
a DM person.
Yeah.
Those are DM kind of things.
One roll to rule them all.
Yes.
love it.
Oh.
Love it.
And then the chaos mind.
Okay. Okay, so I roll a d10,
Yeah.
and if your corruption is equal to or less than the value, you go down the chaos rank. Or you gain a chaos rank. My apologies. Not go down, gain. I keep. Yeah,
One of these days.
that's right.
Oh.
Anybody not earn any corruption tonight?
Oh, I got 6.
I think Gaunter didn't have any.
So Gaunter, you go up one step. You go up one order rank automatically.
Yeah.
That's good.
Some of us.
Okay.
Though.
The
Some of us
corruption
go
roll for tonight is 9.
Nice.
So pretty much everyone.
So I had a 7.
Gains in order.
Yeah,
Pretty much
it's,
everyone should have an order. Yes.
Equal to or less is a chaos rank, guys.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yes.
It was not. It was not less than our score, so we get
Equal
an
to
order.
or
Right.
less.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
right.
marked in order. So chaos
Right.
would have been if I had a 9,
Can
it
you
would
write
have
that
been
down
chaos.
somewhere on here?
You know what though? It's funny. It's actually kind of funny.
No,
he writes
I like
this
it.
whole book thing.
right.
We got
This
a
is
books
the one
everywhere.
thing we can't.
We got the DM guide.
That's right. It's actually right here and here.
I know.
So it's chaos rank if you have 9 or above,
Right.
Yeah, 9 or above. Yeah.
which nobody had.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
Okay.
I was super
So
close.
so essentially what that means in game mechanic terms is that you rationalize your bad actions and
Right.
you learn from them. So let's take toll real quick of kind of where we're at. What's your current order and chaos ranks? What are your current order ranks and current chaos ranks?
I am 7 order,
Okay.
2 chaos.
What about yourself, Gaunter?
4 order, 1 chaos.
Okay. What about yourself, Sir Harrison?
4 order, 3 chaos.
Okay.
7
No,
order,
yeah,
2
no, we-
chaos.
remember
Nice.
6
when we
order,
started,
3
you ran
chaos.
them now.
So a way to think about it is this. Your character is not comprised of 2 personality traits, but they are traits you would traditionally lean on in stressful times. So as an example, if you were afraid and you had more order ranks than chaos ranks, you should probably use your order alignment to guide your role play as opposed to your chaos alignment. It's really meant for critical moments because once again, you're not pulled by 2 strings. But those personality traits come out in the worst of situations. When you're afraid, when in the middle of a fight, in the middle of a really tense situation. And the best guide there generally is if you have more order ranks, lean on your order alignment. If you have more chaos ranks, lean on your chaos. If you're stuck in between, then play that out.
Well,
But if you're ever looking for roleplay guidance, as an example.
what about, like, you're imperiled on top of also being stressed?
I lean into your
think-
chaos.
That's what
Yeah.
I was. That's why I was
I know-
being tyrannical.
Yeah,
as
and I think
could
it-
possibly.
I think
I
it
was
depe-
like, no, you are not allowed
Right.
near our fire.
And there are different ways you can look at it. I think that one way that I traditionally handle as when I've played characters is that when I am imperiled, like I lean on my chaos.
That's what
When
I
when I am stressed, feared, or under terror, I lean on whatever I have the more ranks in. It's not a mechanical guide. It's just a recommendation.
Right.
You can use it as you wish, but I would encourage you to explore those things. That as an example of like when you're just general kind of interaction, like lean on that which is this you have more ranks in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so on that, like Tuck's order and chaos alignment is candor and cruelty, which is why, and generally I do have higher order ranks, which is why he's pretty honest and straightforward most of the time. But being 3 skill ranks deep, then
That's why I was being a little tyrannical. I was like,
Thanks to my impervious mind, I actually only went down.
oh crap! I have that
Guys,
Nope.
how many corruptions do you have?
7.
yeah, I had 7.
What should you have?
Oh, you did
6.
have 1. Oh, everybody got 1 at one point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I had 6.
Okay, so I rolled 9.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, just clarifying.
So
But
that's why I was like, I'm gonna brush myself off,
You're
make
good.
myself look dignified, and that's
Yeah.
why I was like, okay, this is how I'm handling this. It's time.
Impervious mind. I completely forgot it.
Yeah.
I went
And I
down.
passed.
Yeah,
I would
on-
only went down 2
On,
instead of 4.
remember, so impervious mind is for mental peril.
That was mental peril.
Yeah, and then the other one is for physical peril, which I believe you have, don't
That's
you?
the
I'm
I
in a
can't,
mark.
the talent that makes you go down one less step. It's a talent.
Long-winded?
Long-winded.
Peril track reduction by 1.
Yeah, long-winded. Yeah. So
they're very handy.
they are.
Very handy. Yeah.
So, any parting comments, questions, stories, concerns?
No, none yet.
Cool.
Good stuff.
So I do. I mean, I've not used the Inspector Clue thing yet.
Yeah.
It hasn't really come up though, has it?
No, I don't think so. But I mean, I didn't know if I could. I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of a
Use
DM
it.
to see a
No, it's,
decision.
right. So you're
So-
questioning
Could I have used it on Creature Man?
Otrygg.
if you were under the effects of a delirium or intoxicant. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's what-
really?
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing about
That's
the
what I was trying to
investigator
figure out.
is that they are able to assemble together things and stimuli and things that have transpired and form it into something very material. But only when they're under the effects of a delirium, and you have to use a fortune point to do that.
Right. I was
new?
going to
I
do
don't
it, but I
remember
didn't
that.
want to.
That's
Very
it.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
exactly. That's what it's based off. You know, Sherlock Holmes in the original books was like
On cocaine, drunk all the
cocaine,
time.
opium, all that shit.
Yeah.
And he would and that's how he kind of if you read the books, like it's when he kind of pieced together all these things. That's what the Investigator was based off of.
Right. Well, that's what I was trying to figure out if I could have used it there, but I didn't know if I could.
Yeah, but you must be under the negative effects.
Right.
of
Well,
that.
I mean, I bought the whiskey for that reason.
Yeah.
And I have Black Root.
And remember that you may always choose to be intoxicated. You don't have to make a skill test. Like if you say I'm going to have a drink to get drunk, you get drunk. You don't have to roll a skill test to do that. Like if you want to drink and not get drunk, then you make tests.
However, if you're at -3 skill ranks and you drink to get drunk,
Yeah.
Remember, if you were intoxicated and you drop to incapacitated, you're unconscious.
Right. Because you
For
basically
24
blacked
hours.
out.
Yeah, you black out, and then they can't roll you out of bed for 24 hours.
just hope he rolls 3 1 on that
Whiskey.
3d10.
Yeah. So that's kind of
blackout.
part of the reason why I gave
For like-
Madame Krista so many new intoxicants from the book. So Main Gauche has a whole new realm of poisons that are called intoxicants, and it's not an intoxicant in the sense that you think of alcohol being an intoxicant. It's like intoxicants that also are that cause that have psychotropic effects. Like Madame Geneva is gin mixed with snake venom. There is, and I don't think I have them all printed out for her actually here. I don't want to reveal too much on the video yet because I want it to be a surprise, obviously, for the next Kickstarter. But there are a host of intoxicants, including different types of tobaccos. We've already seen devil weed.
Yeah, devil weed.
Which is, essentially marijuana.
Cannabis.
But cannabis, right?
Yeah.
But it has negative effects. It can basically, cannabis in a way is better than smelling salts because you can take, the more doses you take, the more you go up the track.
Oh.
But the more chances you have to become impacted by it negatively.
Yeah.
Yeah, because whenever you take an intoxicant, you gain a benefit and you immediately make it as a toughness test
Okay.
to see if you withstand the negative effects. And in fact, you suffer negative effects with an intoxicant regardless. You gain some negative effect, but
You always
tempted
get corruption.
Well, you always get corruption and you get a negative effect depending on how many doses you take. However, you also make a skill test to determine if they get worse. As an example, so Madame Geneva is gin, and are you familiar with the gin craze? Obviously, so I'm sure you've heard stories about like spontaneous combustion that came out of those periods of time. So. If you critically fail a test to drink Madame Geneva, you fucking explode. So because, once again, remember, Zweihander in Main Gauche leans into, like, the superstitious stuff is actually real. It does real things like, do we take laudanum because we don't know any better? Like, it'll cure us. And because it does, right? It's the same thing with the intoxicants. They kind of take advantage of the superstition that's kind of baked into the mechanics and creates like a system of like, this is kind of how people believe in a grim and perilous world. Like, literally, if you remember in the book, like, if you're crazy, if you undergo surgery, basically trepanation, where they drill holes in your head, you can actually recover from chaos rings.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of fun stuff like that. Yeah.
Or you can drive yourself completely.
Or
Correct.
you can take permanent, stab bumps.
That's right. Yeah, 9% to your willpower if you fail on test. And if you critically fail, you die.
Yeah,
so
do it again.
there's
That's exactly how that happens.
Zweihander and Main Gauche mechanizes kind of a lot of these kind of fun things I feel from our own past. And it's the same thing for the new intoxicants too, and that's why Walter, who's not here, plays Madame Krista, as the viewers probably know him as. She's been given a number of new intoxicants from the new book, so we can play with them around the table.
You gave me 2.
I gave you what?
Just 2 black.
It starts as a
Black Lotus?
profession.
Yeah.
That is not from the new book. It's from the old
No,
book.
that's from the
Okay.
old book. It's part of the
And 2 mandrakes. Which
So
from the old
let's
book.
talk about that for a moment, because those actually have effects, and they can be found in Hazards and Healing. but I'll go through them with you real quick. So if you were to take as an example, what you said you have Black Lotus. So every dose of Black Lotus you take increases your willpower bonus by 10%.
Wow.
For 3 hours. If you take 1 dose, it's 3 hours. You take 2, it's plus 20 for 6 hours. But the more doses you take, you begin to treat, as an example, like if you take 1 Deliriance, just 1, you treat all perception-based skill tests as critically failed instead. If you take 2 doses, you treat perception-based and willpower-based failed skills as critically failed. If you take 3 doses, it's perception-based, willpower-based, and brawn-based.
So does that mean like it can be any, like 2 different types of deliriance? Like say you're crossfaded with like weed and whatever else.
Speedballing, man.
So as a point of clarification, you can never take more than 3 doses of one deliriant type at a time. It may be affected by multiple types of delirium. So you could go Black Lotus, Mandrake Root, Red Cat Mushrooms. Take them all. Take 9 doses.
Mm-hmm.
That's 9 corruption.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Called psilocybin cubensis mixed with absinthe, magic mushrooms, and absinthe.
So Black Lotus increases your willpower bonus by plus 10% for 3 hours. What's the other one you have?
Mandrake, which is that's more healing. That's not.
So Mandrake Root is used actually in creation of other things. Mandrake is actually the active ingredient, I believe, in laudanum. So if you want to make laudanum, you would need, I think you need Mandrake Root.
I thought laudanum was poppy.
It's poppy seeds.
Poppy pods.
That's what we learned. I thought that was last game.
Laudanum is the seed of opium. Sorry, seed of opium. You're right. So Mandrake. That's right. Mandrake Root is kept by superstitious peasants to ward away creatures of the night.
Creatures of the night.
Well, you can eat it.
You certainly can. Eat it and find out.
Yes.
Mandrake's quite useful in a Gwent match as well.
I'm sure. That's right. So what's your current damage condition track at?
I'm unharmed, but I am at ignore 2.
Mm-hmm. Your damage condition track is fine. What's your damage condition track?
I am unharmed.
What about yourself?
Moderately wounded.
Actually, no, I'm lightly wounded. I got
right.
erased it out on an accident.
I'm lightly wounded.
So I thought. Okay. All right. So you are almost. So to set up next session, you will be 1 day out from the Weald's edge. Not Weald, but Weald. W-E-A-L-D. I have a microphone closer, so it's sometimes hard to hear. And that will put you a very short distance from Dunhallow Village. So when we continue next week, we'll have everybody here, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'll be our session before Gen Con, before
right.
Adam and I leave for that. But I think we'll have a cool session next week. Particularly, we'll have everybody here around the table. You hear a little bit more about Otrygg and find out what's going on in Dunhallow.
I am quite excited about the return of Otrygg.
Yeah.
An old character from an old game. So with that being said,
I'm like,
see you guys later. See you next week for the Dunhallow Mystery. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.